Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Creation show. I'm your host, Rebecca Boswell, and today we're going to be looking at how choice creates, and different possibilities for creating a life and a living that can actually work for you, whatever that is. And today, the special guest is you. You get to be the special guest today. Thank you. And so the topic for today is choosing through the holidays and New Year. So this can be a really crazy time of year, a magical time, a fun time, a time filled with friends and family and activities and lots of fun treats and all kinds of stuff. And it can also be one of the most stressful times of the year. And it can actually be a sad time of year for a lot of people too. So lots of intense emotions all over the spectrum. Some people get worried about money. Some people maybe are not in the kinds of relationships they'd like to be in. All kinds of stuff gets churned up during this time of year. So if there's anything that pops up for you where you're like, oh yeah, this pops up for me, or I'm aware of all these things that pop up in general during this time of year, please feel free to pop those in the comments because I'd love to see what you're aware of. So this is one of those times of year when we may feel like there isn't as much choice as we'd like to have in our life. So when we are, dealing with a lot of family, coordinating with other people's plans, a lot of stuff can come up about trying to make people happy or, maybe doing everything. And sometimes that can feel like a no choice situation. Like, well, we do this every year, so I have to do it this year. Or no one else is going to do it, so I have to do it. Or I know that this is really important to so-and-so, or, whatever it is. And we start to get into this mindset of there's no choice. I'm basically just having to react to everything coming my way. Well, what if that is actually not the whole story? And what if we can continue to consciously choose and be in a power position with our choice? Now, when I say power position, I don't mean I'm having power over you. It's about being in your own power, where you are still in that place where you can be conscious and aware to see what you're choosing, when you're choosing it, how you're choosing it, how it feels in your body, and if it's working for you, right? Yeah. Because if it's not working for you, then we can go into this thing of being the whipped puppy. Poor puppy. We can go into this thing of being the whipped puppy, and poor me, and oh, woe is me, and all of this, and go into a space of complaining and upset and churning. But what does that actually create for you? Does it make it any better? We can stay in our power, and that's when we can actually consciously choose. So for instance, if going to someone's house over the holidays is something that is really important to you, true story, is really important to you, then you can acknowledge that it's also important to you because it's important to them. Or you can acknowledge that it's important to them and you get to choose something different. So that's where I think sometimes we get a little stuck. And I'm curious too in the comments if there's anything that you're aware of where it's like, this kind of situation, and I know that, but if there are any buts coming up, I'd love to see what those are, so we can look at them. We tend to get wrapped up, and it's so easy, especially the more aware that we are, the more aware that we are of ourselves, of the world, other people. Sometimes it can get a little tricky as to whether or not what we're aware of is actually something that is true for us, or if it's just something that we're aware of that's true for the people around us. And so we think, well, because it's in my head, it must be mine. That must be how I feel. That must be what I think. And then, our brains go about trying to figure it out and fix it. but it may not actually even be true for you. So, so being able to look at that and be aware of whether it's true for you or not, that is another way to be able to really consciously say, oh, you know what? That actually isn't important to me, or that actually isn't even relevant to me, right? And then you can be more aware of like, okay, so this person, it's important to them, and I keep choosing it, but what's actually underneath that? Hi, you guys. Please, anything that pops up for you as I'm talking, please put it in the comments. I'd love to incorporate you guys as our special guests today, so we can co-create this conversation. So looking at like what's underneath that and realizing maybe it's just that you really care for this person. So maybe this is an invitation to have a conversation about, hey, I really care for you and I know this is really important to you and it's not going to work for me this year. And what can we choose so that you know that I love you, so that we can still come together and it's going to work on my end too. So when we think there's no choice, we just have to look, okay, what else is possible here? And what is underneath it? Because lots of times, it's like, oh, I don't want to hurt someone. Well, don't hurt someone. Be open with them. Drop your barriers. Have a conversation. Let them know you love them. Let them know that what's important to them, that you acknowledge it. And then if it's not a match in terms of something you'd like to choose to, see, well, where can we come together, right? Instead of making certain things so significant, giving it a little bit more space and looking at how you can actually create connection with the choice that you're now going to make together, instead of making it an only this or that kind of a situation. Okay. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Connie, Roman. It's great to see you guys too. So I love this quote by Gandhi, and it says, "I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty boots or feet." There's a couple of different, there are a couple of different versions. And I love this quote because especially this time of year, there are a lot of people trying to walk through our minds with their dirty boots. and you know what? Being aware of when that is actually occurring allows us to recognize what's true for us, what's true for others, and then be able to come together instead of creating separation, right? Yeah, so cool. So that quote is really speaking to this thing of, is this even relevant for me? Is this even mine? And that is such a huge part of maintaining this sense of choice and being conscious. Thank you. Of being conscious through this holiday time that can be so frantic and frenetic. So I'm just really curious, where are things during this holiday season, the turn of the year, where are there situations, or what kind of situations show up where you feel like you just don't have a choice? Like, it's like, oh yeah, I can choose all kinds of things all through the year, but during the holidays, all of that goes out the window. Is it with food? Some people are like, oh man, Christmas food. I go to the parties and there's the wine and there are the eggnog bowls and the treats and the baked goods and the whatever. How am I supposed to have choice at that time? Like, forget it. All bets are off. We'll start fresh in January, right? Or family obligations, or family expectations. Absolutely. Yes, got it. So having all of these expectations, absolutely. People having so many projections onto us about who we should be, what we should be, where we're being like them or not being like them, right? I mean, how many of these traditions do we have in families, or even friend circles or communities, or in our culture at large, that, whether we choose to participate in them or not, people take as an indication of whether we love them, or whether, they feel like there's a sense of belonging, right? Yeah. And it's like, man, sometimes when we choose something that's different, it can seem like a separation. But what's the energy behind what you're choosing? Because if you're actually choosing from a space of power and of kindness, right? And you're including others in the celebration of the choices that you're making, right? I mean, how inviting can it actually be when you can be clear about the life that you're creating, and you can even invite other people to maybe choose what's going to work for them too? I mean, how refreshing is that? How many times have you seen someone say, oh yeah, you know what? I'm not doing Christmas cards this year, or I'm sending out a digital Christmas card, right? And that sense of like, oh, wow, yeah, that feels really good. I didn't even know that was a choice I could make, right? So yeah, being the invitation where you're willing to let go of things and really listen to what is important to you, and let that be your guide. So yeah, definitely, Gary. You don't want to be a bad guest or impolite, so you better eat up. It's really interesting this time of year, all of the craziness that starts to pop up, right? So where else we have people's expectations of us, projections of us. We have we have guilt, right? Maybe you feel guilty that if you don't meet those expectations or fulfill the wishes of others, that's gonna cast you out as the black sheep. But yeah, what if it doesn't have to be like that? So are there any other situations? And if you think of any, you can pop them in there. So what about gratitude? So in November, we did a whole week of 30 days of gratitude and really deepening that practice. And part of gratitude is really being willing to be present, really being willing to see what is and not try to keep escaping to the past or to the to the future rather. So being grateful is really about acknowledging, right? Acknowledging what is and acknowledging the gifts that surround you, right? Yes, I'm grateful. I woke up today. That's huge. Look I get to be on this live today that I really wouldn't have been able to do if I had not woken up this morning, right? We can be grateful for the people in our lives, even the people, right, that are challenging, right? Finding the gift in the garbage. Like, wow, all these people in my life that have been challenging. How did I get so lucky to have such a thorough education in self-development, right? Like, look at all these places where my life can be a playground, and I can actually put all these tools to practice. Like, how cool is that? So every moment when you start to go into a place of like or just a general holiday malaise, because I know sometimes that can linger in the corners this time of year. Just taking a moment to really get present, to come right here into all of what is you, really tapping into all the space that's you. Because sometimes your space can feel really, really, really small when you're so aware of everybody else's stuff on you, right? Yeah, you know that. So like taking that breath, allowing yourself to perceive the space that you are, recognizing that even if all hell is breaking loose around you, you have a body. It may not be perfect. It may not even function perfectly for you, but you're here. And then what else can you be grateful for? Even if you're looking at the smallest things. And how can you actually keep looking out at all of the things that bless you in your life. It's pretty cool. And then can you acknowledge all the choices that you have made Little choices, big choices, huge choices, itty bitty little minuscule choices. But all the choices that you've made that have allowed you to sit in that space of presence and that have gotten you to precisely that moment. Yeah, cool. And suddenly all of the whirlwind, all of the chaos, everybody else's screaming problems, you can handle it. And you can now make a choice again. And you can choose again. And you will not always make the best choice or the right choice. It'll always be the best choice that you can make at that moment. It may blow up in your face. It may be amazing. But you know what the cool thing is it doesn't matter. Because as soon as you make a choice, you can actually make another one. And then another one. And then another one. And that is the magic of choice creates. So even in this time of year, when sometimes we think we have no choice, as long as you can get back to this space of you and acknowledging all the power in that amazing package, that amazing gift of you, then you're going to be okay. Not only are you going to be okay, you're going to be fabulously, amazingly excellent. And it's a practice. So just keep practicing it. And the cool thing is it gets easier and easier and easier. And I'll even offer, what if this is the way that we are being invited to evolve, right? What if all of this temptation to get fired up and into a reactive state by our fight or flight mechanism, right? Those alarms are sounding, blah, 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 blah. All right, well, cool. We have those alarms for a reason because it's telling us, hey, pay attention, right? That's awesome. But our bodies don't know whether the threat is in fact a piano about to fall on our heads, a tiger about to pounce, our house burning down, or us being worried about whether we're wearing the right dress to a party, right? Like our body goes into the same fight or flight mode, not perceiving the difference, right? So what if when these alarm bells sound, instead of just, reacting and flying off to like, rah, see how we can mitigate it somehow, right? Like the fireman grabbing his hat and jumping on the back of the fire truck and zooming off to go save the day and fix it, put out the fire. What if instead that is exactly the moment where we come into our presence, we come into the space of us, and we make that conscious choice. We make the conscious choice to acknowledge, I'm not going to die here. I'm going to die someday. I know that, probably. But it's not going to be right now, and it's not going to be because of this. Yeah. So what can I choose now that will actually create an outcome that's more in line with what I desire? Because that big disaster that I have envisioning in my head, that I'm envisioning in my head, that's not it. So what would I actually like to choose to be able to move more in the direction of what's going to work for me? And how cool that the more we practice that, those really, really loud, glaring, blaring sirens, right? What if they just become a little bloop notification, right? Yeah, it's just letting you know, hey, pay attention. So I think that's going to be it for today. You guys have been awesome and amazing. And I will go and look at the comments too, in case anything didn't pop up while we were on the show, and certainly respond to you. And if you like this format of coming on and chatting just with me, could you just pop that in the comments and let me know that you enjoy it? And let me know if you'd like to see more shows like this in the upcoming season. We will start back the show with season 5 in January. So we'll start back probably mid-January. So you can keep your eyes open. Yay! Keep your eyes open for that. Do make sure to turn on your notifications button on this page, because that way when we go live, you'll get the notification and you can come and you can play with us. Yeah, awesome, cool. Well, I'm so glad that you were able to make it today, Michelle, too. And as always, if you haven't liked the page here, the Facebook page, The Art of Creation Show, please do so. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that too. Of course, we'll edit the front and the back of each of these shows so that you don't get that awkward in the beginning part on the YouTube channel. So please share this with anyone that you think it could contribute to. And let us know, who would you like to see as guests coming up in the next season? What kind of topics are you interested in? And what do you want to know about? And what are areas that you'd like to expand in your life? And how much fun can we have? I mean, seriously, right? Isn't that the point? I'd like to say yes, at least for me. So, okay, guys, thank you so much for playing. You guys have been amazing. I just hope whatever you're celebrating all through the holidays, that it is a magical, magical time for you. And if you find yourself bumping up into any old patterns or triggers or people that are really inviting you to a whole new level of greatness through their choices, even if it comes that gift wrapped in a strange package, may you take at least one or two things from this video and use it to create a holiday that is just as magical as you desire. So thank you. Happy New Year. We'll see you on the other side. And I wonder what we'll discover next. Bye, everybody.